So Venom, what the was it called? The Last Dance? Yeah, I think that's what it was. The Last Dance. Should have been called Venom, never should have been a third movie. Because I'll be honest, look, I understand. I understand that the Venom property has its fan base. I understand that there's people out there who love these movies, and that's totally fine. I feel like this entire trilogy now has been quite the misfire on Sony's part. And to be fair, I feel like The Last Dance is the best of the three. That's not a very high bar to cross, though. Tom Hardy once again plays Eddie Brock, as well as the voice of Venom, and the team must make a devastating decision as they're pursued by a mysterious military man. And that's about as vague as I'll get without getting too deep into spoilers, but I'll give the movie credit for this. It at least feels like a finale, and unlike the worst movies of the year, and unlike the previous movie, Let There Be Carnage, the movie at least feels like it has a beginning, middle, and end. And I'll just say point blank, if you're a fan of the Venom movies, you are probably going to go see this movie anyway, so you'll probably like it. I'm just being objective, though. This is not a very good movie. And I think the entire trilogy, I can kind of boil it down to a couple of things. Number one, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The studio absolutely has no cojones whatsoever. This should have been rated R from the beginning. And the defense for making it PG-13 is, oh, it's a business decision. They want to make as much moolah at the box office as possible. Well, Logan has something to say to that. Joker has something to say to that. The Deadpool trilogy has something to say to that. Deadpool just joined the MCU. Venom has no excuse to not be rated R now. And if they say it's for budgetary reasons, in my opinion, I smell bullshit. And I don't think the failure of this movie has to necessarily do with the Eddie Brock-Venom partnership. That's honestly the best part about these movies. It's what honestly makes them entertaining. Tom Hardy is a freaking boss of an actor, one of my personal favorites. And it's clear that he absolutely adores this material and he loves this character. But when I put the character of Venom on as high of a pedestal as I do when it comes to the best of the Spider-Man villains, the reason why people love Venom so much isn't just his design, it's the intimidation factor. He's supposed to strike fear in all of us, not just the people he's eating the heads of, but of audience members. We are supposed to be scared of this guy. And I'm sorry, through 3 movies, I was never scared of this Venom. Matter of fact, with the comedy the way it was, as funny as it may be, and as entertaining as the, Jekyll and Hyde isms might be, it's cartoonish. It's too silly, especially for this character. This is Venom. He's not a Muppet. And I'll be honest, he's kind of written like he's a Jim Henson character in this one. Just with the dialogue and the stuff that he's saying, it definitely feels very family friendly with a few curse words in there. Again, because it's not rated R though, he can't say the F word. And also because it's not rated R, you can't go all out like you can in a Venom project. So that's why Let There Be Carnage doesn't work. You can't have Carnage come make his debut on the big screen for a Marvel project and have it not be rated R. Again, crock of bullshit. But The Last Dance is definitely a lot more entertaining than its predecessor for sure. Venom does latch on to a bunch of various beings. As you see in the trailer, he latches onto a horse. And that's not the only animal that he's latched himself onto. There's a point where Venom latches onto a frog. And I never in a million years thought that I needed Venom to turn into a frog, but damn it, that was, it got me. It got me. I thought it was funny. And again, I do feel like a lot of the banter that Eddie Brock and Venom have throughout this movie, it can be very funny. But this script is just so all over the place. And it honestly feels like I'm watching 2 different movies when it comes to this. There's a part of me where it feels like the studio wanted this movie to go darker and really feel like it was the bittersweet finale that they wanted. But then you also have a huge comedic romp. And honestly, that's this movie's biggest strength, is the road trip aspect. Eddie Brock and Venom meet a hippie family along the way and they share a very nice bond. But at least the studio was kind of listening to the fan base and giving them more of that banter. But that's indicative of a larger problem. This movie is a perfect example of a studio product. Now, I understand that writer-director Kelly Marcel, who was attached to the previous 2 Venom scripts, she's making her directorial debut here because Ruben Fleischer is mysteriously absent this time. But it honestly doesn't even feel like she has her own voice or is directing this movie. It honestly feels like the studio was looking at Venom and they were like, okay, we got to close this chapter and we got to move on to something else. And that's where these Venom movies really draw a line. And that's honestly my biggest problem with them. They really do feel like products instead of full-fledged movies. Granted, there isn't anything as offensive in The Last Dance as there was when Venom was at a rave. I mean, he does dance in Las Vegas to an ABBA song, which, yeah, I should have known better. But at least when I go in there and I expect some stupidity, I kind of enjoy the movie a little bit more in that sense. Because again, albeit with a very topsy-turvy script that doesn't really know what it wants to be, you do have some glimmers of goodness in the performance of Tom Hardy. You also have Chiwetel Ejiofor in this movie playing an army general who's hunting down the symbiote. His character is practically given nothing. And I'm sitting here like, oh my god, this is an Oscar-nominated actor. Like, what are you doing with him? And if you're gonna make it a multiverse movie, this guy curiously looks a lot like Mordo from Doctor Strange. Curious that they don't allude to that. Then again, Sony also kind of wants to create their own universe and also include Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but they can't have their cake and eat it too. All in all, I can't honestly say that Venom: The Last Dance is one of the most disappointing movies of the year because I expected it to be on this level of quality. I expected to be sold something by a studio that just wanted to wrap up this story, and they do. It does feel like it has a beginning, middle, and end. The ending really is going to polarize a lot of the fan base, especially when it comes to these Sony movies. And they might look at it, without spoiling anything, they might look at this whole connection to the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe as pointless, but they kind of established that the connection was pointless even during the post-credits of No Way Home. So I mean, I don't know what else people are expecting out of this. All that in mind though, if you enjoy the Venom movies, you will probably enjoy The Last Dance just fine. On an objective note, again, this is nowhere near top level of comic book movies this year. I'm gonna give Venom: The Last Dance a C-. This is just more proof that there should just have never been a third dance to begin with. And how much longer is Sony going to try and pull into the barrel of Spider-Man villains and just give them their own solo movies? We got a Kraven the Hunter movie coming out. At least that one's rated R. At least they're learning their lesson on that front. But I'm just to the point where I'm starting to get sick of this formula, guys. I don't know how much longer I can take it. Well, let me know what you guys thought of The Last Dance down in the comments. Do you guys enjoy the Venom movies? Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap on that thumbs up as well. Expect more to come in the Halloween playlist, in addition to all the big new releases that we're going to be getting in the month of November, which looks absolutely stacked. Gladiator 2, Moana 2, Wicked. There's a lot that we got to talk about, and probably some older movies as well in the build up to all three of those big hits. That's just to give you a small taste of what's to come, my friends. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much again for tuning in. And with all that being said, Back Talk commence.